Hi everybody, it's Adele Levine, and today we're going to do the subject matter of how to connect to deceased loved ones. So, before we get started, although I always kind of forget to tell you this, but it would be great if you can make comments down below, and even if it's just commentary on how you felt about this or information you want to give. I'm very much welcoming all types of peoples and opinions and skeptics, and everyone is welcome here to communicate as long as we're respectful of each other. And don't forget to subscribe so you can get updated on recent posts. So let's get into it. So as you know, I'm an intuitive and a medium. A medium is talking to those who've passed on for other people, being the mediator, being the go-between, having that realm speak to you and pass a message to the people who are living. That's not what we're going to cover, although I will do a video on mediumship. And as I've said in past posts, I'm trying to break everything down into very specific subject matter so we stay focused on the subject matter that we're trying to stay focused on and not get sidetracked like I'm doing right now. But talking to those who have deceased is pretty much available to everyone. Not everyone's going to be a medium, not everyone's going to want to be a medium, but everybody can connect to those who have passed on. So let's get into how. How is very simple, and that's what I'm here to do, is simplify and uncomplicate a lot of the spiritual realm. And let's start with what you need to do first. First is talking to them. Everybody tends to forget to actually talk to that realm. And I don't mean talking like, you know, out loud, where you have to be saying stuff out loud, or only at the cemetery, or only at holidays and things like this. I'm talking, it can be in your mind, telepathically sending a message. It's connecting, it's providing energy to them. It is acting almost like you know they're existing in this realm. Contrary to what people believe, spirits want to communicate all the time. I know there's a lot of things said, like there's only certain days that you can communicate with them and then you can't anymore, that they're stuck, and you know, all this kind of stuff, and they have to be crossed over to the veil. I'm here to tell you that I've never had this issue. I have talked to people as they pass, that minute, that day, that hour, because it's more like quantum, and it's a frequency, and it's a timeline, and it's like stepping into a portal. So it's not as difficult as people think. And so kind of imagine, like right now you're looking at here on YouTube, and you're seeing and hearing a lot about what I'm saying while you're able to go on the internet and see a vast amount of information. You're connecting to an energy. So it's kind of like you're in a world within a world, right? The internet is kind of like another world within this world and connecting us all. And so what happens is that people, when people pass, a lot of times we're very open, and if you've had the experience, you're like, oh, right when they died, I heard from them, I felt them, I can tell they're around. And then we tend to think, oh, they must have got, you know, they must have drifted away, or now I can't communicate with them because they have, quote, moved on, you know. And people think this often, like, oh, how come it stopped? I don't feel them as much as I used to. I don't see them as much as I used to, depending on how you're getting your communication. Well, it's not that. It's that we get very caught up in this world. It's usually about us, and that we're getting caught up in, you know, work, in life, in struggles, and very much this dimension. And so we're getting caught up here. So we kind of start tuning that out. So if you kind of compare it to life, that we do all the time, you can get really caught up in your work, and you're like, you know, I just haven't really been paying attention to my own health, or I haven't been paying attention to my personal life because I've been very focused on this, that I'm not really paying attention to signs that my body's telling me, or signs of things that are going on in my personal life. And it's very similar, except for way, way more difficult, because for us, we feel like it's something we can't see. So first you have to start communicating, and you can do it out loud, you can do it just in your minds. But secondly, when you're getting those signs, and I'm going to do a whole video on signs, a separate video on signs, and what all these signs mean, and what are signs, and all this kind of stuff. But when you're communicating, and you feel a feeling, I feel like it was really them, or I got a very clear sign it was them, then you have to talk back. Because when you get these signs and you get a feeling, what happens is you kind of go, oh, well, I know it was my grandmother, I know it was her, and I told her, I know it's you, and you just kind of keep on going. And what happens is your grandmother's like, okay, that's cool, but you didn't you didn't say anything back, you didn't talk to me back. And I know that sounds strange, but it's true. So for instance, say you get a clear feeling that something's around you, and you feel like you know who it is. Oh, this is my friend who passed or something. Instead, you just go, oh, I know it's you. Instead of saying, no, it's you, what else do you have to say? What else do you want to convey to me? And that's how you keep the communication going, and it gets stronger and it gets quicker if you keep it going. So when they're throwing out a sign, it's almost like texting to you, and you go, oh, I got your text, and they see you got their text, sorry, but you didn't say anything back. And so when you're talking to them, it's like your frequency is connecting to their frequency. So when you're talking to them, you're interacting, you're interplaying. So it's an energy. If you say it out loud, they like it because that's a frequency. And if you even say it in your mind, that's you connecting to them. So I know people make it very complicated, like, oh, they're somewhere else, or they, have to, go through all this through the veil, and they're in, they're far from me, or they're going through, there's all these rules, but it really is just a dimension within this dimension, that the echo of who you are and feeling you and sensing you is still existing. So what you want to do is to pay attention to all the subtleties. And why is it subtle? Instead of people kind of feel like, well, if they want to appear to me, then they'll appear to me like, in an apparition, or they'll, why can't I just, know it's them just like that? Well, there's two reasons. One, there is a spiritual law to not interfere in this realm too much, not to interfere in your life too much, not to like continuously making the presence, because we're not really prepared and used to that. If we started to do that all the time, even me, I create a boundary with that realm. But if we did it all the time, it kind of removes us from the grounding of being here. The other reason that it's not all that doesn't happen is because oftentimes it scares people. So when those energies have made appearances, or they have made their presence known very, very clear, people get scared. Even though they say they want it, they get scared. And the people who love you, who are close to you, aren't trying to scare you. They're just trying to communicate with you. They're just trying. Why? Because people think it's always like, oh, there must be some pressing reason. It's really just to let you know they didn't disappear. They didn't just disappear into nothingness, and that, they don't care about what's going on with you, and they're not around anymore. They're doing this because they want to let you know, wow, I got the blinders lift off of me, and there's a world within a world, and I'm still existing. So I really want you to know this. And then from there, it's like, I want to help you. I want to help guide you. There's no time here. I can kind of see your life. I'm really good at this. And they're trying to reach out. It's not stopping them from anything. You're not stopping them from living. You're not living, quote unquote, their life, meaning you're not preventing them from what people call moving on, but it's really just a state of consciousness of expanding their consciousness and growing. You're not stopping anything. They're more than capable of doing both. So in order to communicate, I'm going to go over, there's going to be umbrella. There's going to be like a part 2. I'm going to do this Friday of signs, and then I'll do even another one about dreams and what really is happening when spirits, are talking to you in your dreams. But for right now, you want to start with communicating. And then when you feel like it's a knowing that comes over you, and you know that knowing it's a different thing, it's like a feeling where you know there was something different happening, and you know it was someone you care about trying to talk to you, then talk back and say, you know, I really need a confirmation it's you, you know, because there's two reasons for that as well. You don't want a trickster energy. You know, if you feel like you hear something, oftentimes you feel like, oh, I felt like my mom was talking to me, but it felt like she was angry and I'm confused. Why would that be? There can be trickster. And also you're trying to get out of your mind. You're like, oh, am I just telling myself what I want to hear? Am I just trying to like fill in this thing I really want to happen? Or is this really the person that I feel it is? And then one of the ways you do is say, hey, throw me out a sign. So here's the thing. You know, it doesn't happen like in the movies where you're like, oh, if you're here, you know, knock 3 times. And if you're here, make something happen. And people are like, well, nothing happened, so I guess they're not here. Well, first of all, they're always here. Second of all, the reason why it happens this way is because our mind gets in the way. And so they will sometimes throw this awareness to you when you're least expecting it on purpose, so you can't rationalize it. So if it happened in that moment and the lights flickered and your phone did something, you might kind of oh, that was cool in the moment, but you'll start to rationalize, well, maybe I wanted it to happen, maybe I was asking because I said I want this to happen at this moment and then something happened, maybe I'm just, you know, wishing for it. But if you throw it out to those that you care about and you say, hey, today I really would love to hear from you, I need a sign, and something happens, or you go, I feel like I need to feel you, and you just get a feeling of love or a feeling of something you know is different, or something unique happens when you're least expecting it, it throws your brain off to the curb. And you're like, you know what, this was really strange. This kind of came out of like in the middle of me buying coffee, something happened to me that I can't explain, and I really feel it was them. So they kind of throw you off on purpose so that you can't rationalize it and self-doubt, because that's really, really what stops people from believing is this, of you going, well, I can explain it, and talking yourself out of it. So just allow it to happen. Open the heart, because feeling is how you connect. And it really is like a plug connecting into a socket. And that's what confirmations are for. Confirmations are things that you go, I really know that was them. That's what signs are for. That's what all those things are for. The more you can get those, the more it feels strong. The more you really feel, okay, there's something going on. The more the signal between the two of you, the connection, gets quicker, faster, and stronger. So I'm going to leave it at that, and I want you to try and practice that with someone you care about. Don't feel silly. You can be privately talking to them. Like I said, you can talk out loud. You can be in your car just talking in your head. But you know, it's one of those things that you have to decide, is this something you feel is existing? And it doesn't have to be mystical. It doesn't have to be woo-woo. It can be very grounded in the sense of it's energy. It's an energy that they are at. They're in another dimension. They're in a realm within this realm. It is not so out there if you think about it as energy. So just kind of go along this and kind of try and practice this through the week and see what happens, and have trust in it. Have trust in yourself. Like I always say at the end of these videos, have trust in yourself, follow your intuition, don't follow other people, don't follow other people's instructions. I'm just merely trying to guide you through all of this, and you'll take what resonates with you and you'll leave what doesn't. And the answers are locked inside you. We're born with all of them. I'm just here. What I'm trying to do is help unlock them so you can find what you already know. And I'll see you soon. Thank you.